So, welcome to another review of another video game console. Good news is that I've got a better stand to put my phone on, so it'll be a lot easier. So it'll be a lot more stable than what it has in previous ones. So, back in like the 80s and 90s, like portable video game consoles was sort of a novel concept. Well, like back in the 80s anyway. One of the more popular ones back in the 80s was what's called the Game & Watch, which was sort of, pre-printed LCD screen. So like the pre-done images. And like the games are very simple. Then you had a company like Tiger Electronics who took that to the next level. They just did it on everything. Like, you could find just the most random little handheld LCD electronics for any of these games. But obviously they sort of started going, well, it was sort of a bit weird because like you had the Game Boy, which, was, a proper video game console. And, but at the same time, it's like it was a bit more expensive than those Tiger Electronic games, which did mean that, they were still popular. They still sold a lot. But in 1997, Tiger Electronics decided, no, we're going to make our own proper video game console. And with that, you have the Tiger Gamecom. Well, it's known as the Game.com, but it is officially known as the Gamecom. So, bonus includes a lights out game. So yeah, this is a weird console to say. It's got a lot going for it too. So yeah, as you can see, portable video game system with touchscreen technology and 5 built-in functions. So yeah, interesting enough, this was actually the first video game console with touchscreen functionality. Would it be 7 years before the Nintendo DS? So honestly, it's kind of impressive. So yeah, as you can see, so we've got cartridge, phone book, what do you got here? Calendar, calculator, high score, and solitaire. I'll go into those a bit more later, obviously, once we go through all this. So let's just look at the back. So yeah, Gamecom, portable video game system. Yeah, same thing as before. Features, revolutionary touchscreen stylus interface, which, it was revolutionary for video game consoles. It technically wasn't the first electronic device to have it, and again, I'll get into that a little later. Speech and state-of-the-art sound. Yeah, I mean, chipsets for sound were a bit basic at the time, so it does make sense they would do this. Internet email access with optional modem card. So yeah, this was also internet capable. I don't think it was the first video game console that was internet capable, but it was the first portable one. This is sort of an issue, and I'll get into that later. Built-in organizer functions, phone book, calculator, automatic high score save. That's got an interesting story behind it. 2 cartridge slots. So yeah, not just the 1 cartridge slot, but 2 cartridge slots. Now, you just be thinking, oh, okay, you can stick 2 games in, you can just, switch between the games. But there is actually a major function behind why they put in 2 cartridge slots. Built-in solitaire. Library, exciting game cartridges, sold separately. Exciting is the word, I guess, the best way to explain that. So yeah, printer or solid paper. Crap, I forgot to put the batteries in. I'll have to pause this and do this later. So yeah, made in China, printed in China, though Tiger, was that Vernon Hills? Don't worry, that dress is probably defunct anyway. Yeah, just wanted to show the price. $69.99 at KB Toys, so that's US dollar value. Yeah, reduced to $49.99. Probably isn't even that. Probably isn't even that. So in terms of how I actually got this, this was actually some random guy in Australia on eBay was just selling this. It was in Australia. I forget exactly where. Somewhere in Sydney, I think it was. But yeah, he happened to have this, a copy, an actual Gamecom in box. So I'm probably the only person in Australia that owns this console. At least one of the only ones. You're probably thinking, why would I own a console from the US? It's like, gaming comes in all different kinds. At the very least, being a portable video game console, I don't have to worry about, connections and that, to the TV and whatever. Like, it's portable. You just throw in some batteries, which are universal regardless. So, I might as well open this up. So, yeah, and inside, There we are. We got a console. Nice little plastic insert. I mean, that's all right. You got your cartridge lights out, which I will get to. And then, let's see, you got instruction manual. Now, I got 2 of these. Don't worry about the other one. And yeah, so this isn't the instruction manual. This is kind of just a pamphlet showing you all the exciting games and things you can buy for this. I will go through this. Trust me, it's worth going through. So yeah, I'll just grab the cartridge out. So yeah, not too much else. Yeah, there is no instruction manual. Don't worry, it's pretty straightforward, this thing. And yes, here is the Gamecom itself. Oh, hello. Well, at least it's covering my face anyway. So yeah, this is a fascinating console to own. So yeah, as you can see, you've got you got your A, B, and C and D as the face buttons, which I'm not bothered by. Like, I know it's a bit basic, like maybe Y, X, and Y perhaps, or something like that. But to be honest, like they're very clearly marked. It's A, B, C, D. So if someone says hit the C button, so well, you know what you're doing. So you got menu button, you got sound button, and you got a pause button, which is useful. Very squishy D-pad. I'm not really too big on these. I mean, it does fine for what the console is, because trust me, it won't be that big a deal. And yes, you have the the little stylus to do the touch screens. And I'll just slot that back in there. So yeah, down here you've got, I assume that's headphone port, you've got the battery pack. Yeah, you got the little button battery that goes in there. Got DC in, 2 cartridge slots here, and yeah, the COM ports. This is actually, yeah. So look at that. You can actually hook it up to the internet. There are a lot of steps required for that. And on the button, yeah, you got contrast and volume. Yeah, contrast is pretty useless on this thing. All right, so let's talk about the good things about this. For one thing, it wasn't very expensive, as you saw. It was $69.99, which, that was about, what cheap console prices were at the time. And yeah, obviously the big thing about it, it does have a touchscreen. As you can, if you look carefully, you can actually see, you can see the actual gridding on the touchscreen. Now let's go through some of the problems of this. So one of the big issues I had with this console is that they try to fit everything in this. Like, again, internet connectivity, touchscreen, you got, the chipset so you can have speech. But the problem was they needed to make it affordable as well. So the thing is, whilst they did have all these really good features, they also really cheaped down some other things. So touchscreen, set screen, black and white, and really bad ghosting, like really bad. It is so hard to see stuff on this. The chipset, you can make realistic sounds. Problem is, there's only so many channels like in the console. So the problem is, with channels, it's sort of, it's not just a case of the quality of sound, but it's also how many sounds you can actually play. A good example of this is actually, if you play Super Mario Brothers and you listen to the background music, and grab a coin, and if you listen about half a second after the coin sound ends, you'll actually hear the music has sort of been dialed down a bit. It's missing, like, it's still clearly the tune, but it's sort of dialed down. It's sort of missing a bit. Because again, they had limited channels, so they couldn't really have the full music and the coin sound effect at the same time without having to have some kind of compromise. At least in that case, it was smart. But if you watch, if you go online, you watch some gameplays of this, you will notice it cannot play more than one sound at a time. It will play music, and then when, that super good sound effect that, they tout on this thing, so when the super good sound effect hits, you'll hear the music completely stop, and then it will play the sound, and when the sound stops, it'll start the music again. So it's that's just really bad. Okay, so there is something else about this. So I told you about the 2 cartridge slots. Turns out there's a lot more to this than that. So if you want to, I talked about the fact that you can access the internet with this. You can't access this normally. You have to actually use what's called an internet cartridge. So you actually need to buy the cartridge and plug it in. But there was another problem too. Back in those days, you had to have a modem. Well, obviously you do nowadays. You needed a modem as well. You need the cable connection to connect to here. And the biggest thing about it is you needed an internet provider. This wasn't very common in 1997. Like maybe, like that's the thing. When you look at something like the DS or PSP, which did have internet capability, well, at least DSi onwards, with those ones, they at the very least, there was two things. One, they utilized the Wi-Fi, which meant that sure, you still had to be around a Wi-Fi connection, but the main thing was that you could you could sit back and relax. You sit in your chair, on the lounge, lying on your bed, and you could comfortably sit there and play games. With this, you are constantly tethered by the cable, okay? Like, you can only go as far as the cable will let you. And another problem, too, is that with, the Wi-Fi, obviously, it was the Wi-Fi was at least designed, the internet capabilities was designed, you could use any old internet provider as long as you had internet. In this day, there were only specific internet companies that were actually compatible with the Game Cob. Interestingly enough, they actually provide their own internet service provider just for this. It was called Delphi, I think it was called. But yeah, like, you couldn't actually use specific internet providers. There were some compatible ones, but not all of them were. So even if you were one of the lucky few that had internet connection at your home, you might not have the right one. So that sucks. And above all that, it's text only. You cannot see images on the internet. So it's like, what's the point? You can check emails. And so when you consider this and all the other functionalities, it was kind of like a PDA in a way, as well as a video game console. But here's the big kicker, and this is why it has two cartridge slots. The original idea wasn't the main thing about having two games in each of the cartridge slots, which you can do, obviously. The main thing was one would have the game cartridge, and the other would have the internet cartridge. The point being, you would have one game in, and then you'd have the internet connecting to the internet, and the idea being that this console could theoretically do online multiplayer. That was the idea behind this. Essentially, very bold, I'll admit. But again, just the way it had to be done. It couldn't hold the data on the system. It had to be on a separate cartridge. You needed the modem, you needed all this. Interesting enough, you can buy, with the internet cartridge, let's say you bought it, but you needed the modem and internet. They actually had forms in that box with the internet cartridge where you could actually fill out and fix up an internet connection and even order a modem. So yeah, there is an official Tiger Gamecom modem that is designed to go with this as well. Obviously, again, other modems can work if you've got the right internet connection, but yeah, there was actually a specific one for the modem. So that's a very rare item too, because should be noted, this didn't sell very well. I think it was only 300,000 units that actually sold. So this is actually quite a rare item. The other thing about that, but yeah, with the internet, it's that was the whole thing, the online multiplayer. But ultimately, it fell through because they were never able to make it work, I guess, in the testing phase. But I guess they decided to throw this out anyway as it was. So in later, they did do a later revision called the Gamecom Pocket Pro, which completely removed any kind of internet functionality. I don't think it had the port, and yeah, there was only one cartridge slot because, again, the whole point of the two cartridges was internet connection. It wasn't about being able to have two games at once. You can do that, but that wasn't the point. So yeah, and yeah, this just, again, one of the other problems was actually making the games itself. So, you know what? I'll pause this and I'll come back with fresh bats because it needs bats, and I'll actually show you how one of these games works. All right, jump cup complete, and yeah, got the batteries in the compartment, so ready to check this out. So yeah, it uses 4 AA's. Battery life, I honestly couldn't tell you what the battery life is. So yeah, I'll put one of these cartridges in. All right, let's just begin. So, on button, I've also put the volume up. God, I hope you guys can see this. Okay, it's sort of coming in. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, you got the cartridge there. So I'll check out some of these other aspects. So yeah, you got phone book. So yeah, pretty much phone book is, you can just put in a name or just a name or, numbers and that. Pretty basic thing. So do you want to exit? Yes. Okay, so then we got calendar. This is coming through the screen. So what we got? We got April 1997, which is probably when it was designed to come out. So let's see. Previous, next. Okay, go to. So let's see if we can go to the month, because yeah, I'm recording this. This is the last couple of days of June. So 06 20 25 and enter. Oh, look at that. It actually did it. I think it did it. I was like, turn the contrast up a bit. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, June 2025. That's actually pretty impressive. Now, there is one problem with this calendar. Usually with calendars, you're supposed to be able to, tap on them and be like, okay, I'll put, appointment for this at, this particular time. Because that's how your PDAs work, They're designed to help organize things. With this, it's just a calendar. That's it. You just use it as a calendar. It's like, oh, well, this day is on, this day of the week. It's like, ugh. Okay, then we got calculator, which again is a calculator. Well, we better do it. Let's see, 8085. Oh, damn it, I got it the wrong way. I was like, how do I clear this thing? So it's 58008. There we go, boobs. Come on, I had to do it. Okay, so go exit. Yeah, exit. So yeah, high score. Okay, so here's a weird thing. This is something else I was for. So yeah, currently solitaire is the only thing that's currently in this. I'm pretty sure the sort of save state battery is dead in this, so it doesn't really matter anyway. Just see, it doesn't matter. The point of these high scores is that, again, remember how I talked about, you can obviously connect to the internet. Well, with this, you could actually upload your high scores onto Gamecom's official website. Apparently, you could even get like press. I'm not sure if they did this, but they were at least planning to do press releases where you could actually get specific press releases through your Gamecom. So, all right, so I exit out of this one. And yeah, then you got the classic solitaire, which, Tiger. And this is exactly what you think it is. So, oh God, this is hard to see. Is that a 5 or 6? That's a 6. Okay, so it looks like I can go. No. I don't know, what can I get? Okay, it looks like I can put the 10. No, I can't put the 10 there. Oh, 2 should be fine. Yep. 5 onto there. I mean, it's a bit more difficult because I'm trying to like record this, but even then it still feels like a bit of a faff anyway. Well, okay, you get the idea. All right, so I might as well check one of the games out anyway. So I'll actually go through all the games because it should be noted, in the 3 years this is out, they released, I kid you not, 20 games. 20 total. All right, so cartridges. So if you have 2 cartridges in, I'll actually give you the option to choose which one you want. But obviously in this case, just the 1 cartridge. Now, it should be noted, this screen is crap. This is probably the best screen you'll see of Gamecom in this day and age because, man. All right, so level select, regular, start. So yeah, this is a pretty basic game in all that relevance. So yeah, pretty much you just got to do it, tap in specific ways. Yep. Oop. Knocked myself over. So let's see, that one, and that one, and that one. As a packing title, it's honestly not bad because at least it does what you'd want it to do, which is Okay, that one's super easy. Because it does actually showcase touchscreen. And you know what? The touchscreen does actually work pretty decently. I'll give it that. Okay, I've had enough of you. So yeah, that gives you a general idea of how this game console works. And trust me, it is a lot worse. So I would like to go through all the 20 games, but I think I'll show you like one of the things about this game console is that so when you actually get the games, like normally back in those days, it would usually just be like, a cardboard box, and then you have your manual, and then you have your game. Well, for the game com, I'll pick this one, Henry. You will notice they also put it in a plastic sealed box, which I mean, hey, for collectors, this is great because, it's mint condition, the box. But yeah, so I don't really have a need to open this. Plus, again, like, it's not like I'm going to be able to show you this to you very well because, like, that screen is the best it is, and even then, it is pretty substandard, that screen. And trust me, when it comes to, like, games where it's, like, things are really moving, it is awful. Like, you will see some, like, if you look online, you will see some really bad footage. Anyway, so I'm now going to go through all 20 games and just give you a general idea. If you guys actually want to play the game, interesting enough, so there's an interesting story about this. So there was a person who was working as sound engineer for Tiger Electronics on the Gamecom. Now, because of this, he actually had a dev kit, essentially, where he could, work on developing the sound and music for the games. Well, because of that, once the console, ultimately flopped and they discontinued it in the year 2000, it was only after about 3 years. What he did is he tried to mail the dev kit back to Tiger, and then it just got returned anyway. That's apparently the story. But he ended up just selling it on eBay to someone, and he sold the dev kit. But then when after he sold, he actually found all like the software and stuff, like on discs and that. And so he actually gave him, or I forget if they sold, or gave him to the same person who bought the console as well. And through that dev kit, probably one of the only surviving dev kits of these things, they're actually able to create an emulator of this, and it has all 20 games on it. There is one game where it's like, apparently it doesn't work very well, but I don't know if maybe they've worked on it since. But yeah, so you can actually go play it. I might try and leave a link of it in the description, see if you can find a reputable source where you can get it. Because at least, for, shits and giggles, it'd be good fun to check out for, an hour or two. All right, so let's go through all 20 games. So, first game, obviously you got the pack-in title, came pretty much all of these, which is the Lights Out. As I said, you saw what it was. It's basic, it gets the job done, at least conveying how the console works, at least the touchscreen, if nothing else. As is, you can use your finger if you need to. So yeah, it does a pretty decent job. And so, then you've got this thing, which is Henry. So Henry, as you can see, is Match the Sounds memory game. So, guaranteed, this is the most frustrating and irritating, infuriating sound and memory game you'll ever play. It's only because you haven't yet met Henry, the consummate confounder and master manipulator, an award-winning brain. Well, this one awards. So yeah, this is apparently based on like an electronic toy they made previous times, like previous electronic toy, which they converted into this game. So essentially, it is like a sound matching game. So like you have the pictures here, but you also have the sounds, which, when you touch it, it also makes a sound. I guess you got to match it up. It kind of seems kind of pointless to have all those special sounds because, again, you got the clear pictures which show, different items. So, like, essentially, it's just a picture matching game anyway. So, yeah, I don't really... trust me, it says here, easy to learn, impossible to answer. It's probably just easy. All right, so then you've got Tiger Casino. This one's pretty straightforward. It's just a casino games, So yeah, you got some rules. So what we got here? We got roulette, poker, blackjack, high card, and slots. So yeah, that's exactly what you think. It'd be dumb if they put bloody solitaire on this because they already got solitaire on that. So why'd you put solitaire on that? So yeah, this is pretty much what you said. Oh, there's a 6 game apparently. Oh, it doesn't really show that. So yeah, this is just exactly what you think. That's it. It's just a bunch of casino games. Doesn't really mean much because there's obviously no money involved. I do like how it's like was that rated E for everyone. I'm pretty sure what's that card game Balatro? Yeah, they got like an R rating in a country because they just happen to be using sort of poker style, even though it's technically nothing like poker. All right, and the final game. So these are all essentially first party stuff. So this is stuff that has no licensing whatsoever. It's all Tiger stuff. Quiz Whiz Cyber Trivia. Jesus Christ, look at that chin. Yes. So this is just a quiz game. That's all. Oh, what the? Oh yeah. Okay. So I like that. So this is what it is on the front. This is what it looks like from behind. Like that. So yeah, this is essentially just a quiz game. That is all it is. They sort of try to spice up with this guy. Essentially, when you answer questions right or wrong, or whatever, you get like an animation from this guy. So yeah, that's about it. It's nothing really interesting. All right, now let's see. Okay, next up, we'll go with Wheel of Fortune. So yeah, they did a few of these like essentially licensed stuff where it's based on board games and card games or whatever. So yeah, unfortunately, I got to get a little buffed up there, but I'm not gonna take it anyway. I mean, anyone who's seen Wheel of Fortune knows how it works. You got the wheel, you spin it, maybe you don't get bankrupt. And yeah, you guess letters, essentially hangman, but with money. Now, interesting thing about this, they actually created a Wheel of Fortune 2. So essentially, exactly the same game, just different puzzles. That's all it is. Now, that is the other thing too. Of the 20 games, this is Wheel of Fortune 2 is the only one that I don't own. For some reason, it is apparently stupid rare and is also extremely expensive. A loose card, not this, but a loose card, I see goes for like $200 to $300 US. And I'm just like, it's not worth it. All right, then we got Jeopardy. So this is, again, another thing. It is Jeopardy. So I don't know how this would actually work because I assume it'd be pre-done answers. Like it'd be like multiple choice. Because I feel like trying to type in like, what is whatever, because you got to answer it as a question, don't you? So yeah, I assume it'd have to be like a multiple choice equivalent. So yeah, that's you standard game Jeopardy. Apparently with the emulator, this is the one game where it's a bit iffy. So just be wary of that if you decide to go play that. Okay, now I'm going to show off these ones. Now these you're going to be surprised about because they are actually in completely different packaging. So I'll give you an explanation for why, and I'll just show you this one first. Scrabble, which again is Scrabble, yeah, because it's Scrabble. This is exactly what you think. You try to make words, and you got to put it on specific spots. So, double points. It's exactly what you think. Again, all of these games, it's like there's not really much to talk about because it's exactly what you think. It's just on the game column. That's all it is. Now, here's the thing you might have noticed. It says Hasbro. Reason being, in I think it was 1998, Hasbro actually bought Tiger Electronics. So, because of this, in 1999, they actually released 4 more games for the system. So, I think it was like 12 in 1997, 4 in 98, and then another 4 in 99. Now, because Hasbro owned Tiger, they could actually utilize some of Hasbro's properties. Hence why these 4 games exist. And obviously, you can tell completely different packaging compared to the standard one. It's actually more minimalist because like this isn't actually a box now. This is actually these are just like sort of paper and that. They're just sort of just front and back. I'll actually show you that on a different one. So this is Monopoly. Again, exactly the same. It is Monopoly. You do Monopoly. Like again, it's one of those, what else am I supposed to tell you? So yeah, Parker Brothers this time, which again is owned by Hasbro. As you can see, Tiger Electronics in 1999. So the big thing about this one, someone actually wanted to play this. This is actually a used copy. But I guess they wanted to make sure that when they use it, they could still put this all back together. Because you'll actually notice they've actually cut around all of this. So you can actually, so they can essentially open it, like I'm about to do now. When I get it. So yeah, you can actually open it. So I'll actually show you the inside. Okay, so I can only sort of open it. So yeah, as you can see, you got the actual manual up there. And yeah, you got your Monopoly cartridge right there. So I'll just put all that back together. So yeah, that is another thing. Okay, and now we got 2 old arcade games. Firstly, got Frogger, which, you know, is Frogger. So again, another Hasbro, though interesting enough, Konami and Hasbro Interactive. So I guess they must have gone out of the way to actually license this. Yeah, Konami owns a trademark to Frogger. So yeah, they actually went out of the way to get a license from Konami for this. Again, 1999. And the other one, yeah, see, 1981 Konami. And the other one is Centipede. So yeah, this is a classic arcade game. So what is it? Yeah, fend off waves of creepers and crawlers. So yeah, this one was Atari this time. They actually got the license for it. So they actually went out of their way to get licenses in 1999, which I honestly find surprising for something like this. Oh, one thing I will also say. So I think I just need to double check. So I just want to show this one again. So with Jeopardy, you'll notice the Gamecom console. See Gamecom for 1 to 3 players. So it's exclusively Atari's Gamecom portable gaming system. So you'll notice that this is actually based off of this one. But you'll notice with this one, the console they use is actually the Pocket Pro Edition. So that is what it looks like. If you're wondering what it looks like, God, that looks got a very low resolution. But yeah, as you can see, it's very basic. And it's still got all the same functions anyway. So yeah, 2 things to note about this. I think these games work just fine for what they are, but this feels like the kind of thing where you'd have these 2 as one. This would be like a 2-in-1 pack. You'd be able to fit 5 of them because, again, it's still, like, these are very old games. Like, they're fine, but it's like, you know, even by like 1999, they were doing compilations. They were probably doing compilations with both these games and more available. So I do sort of question their reasoning for bringing this in, for like having them separate like that. So, but take that as you will. Okay, now we're getting into the good stuff. So these are all licensed stuff of actual video games, and I want to bring this in. So one more arcade one, Williams Arcade Classics. So Robotron, Joust, Defender, Defender 2, and Sinistar. So yeah, 5 of the greatest arcade hits of all time, now available in one portable collection. So this honestly doesn't, this is why I said why those 2 separate, when you can have 5 of these arcade games all together. So this is when I sort of have to get into the thing. These games are hard to play on this. Again, it is a screen. That screen goes so hard. And like this is they're very twitchy action kind of arcade games. So these are always hard to play. As I said, you won't notice this if you play on the emulator, because obviously you'll be playing on just a regular computer screen and not an actual game con. Like, it should be noted, these things deteriorate a lot. I'm pretty sure with my console, someone bought this, played this once, realized it was crap, put it back in its box, and have not played it since until I got it. Because that screen is actually one of the better screens. Like, I've seen screens online, like, some are really bad. But yeah, so, yeah, the ghosting is pretty bad on this one. Alright, and now, so before I start talking about these 6 games, a common issue with portable video game consoles, like if you look at something like the Gamecom and the Sega Game Gear especially, a common issue you found with a lot of developers and publishers is that essentially they just do watered down versions of home consoles, because you had 16-bit console, that's what it did. You had a 16-bit console game, you'd water it down so it sort of worked on the portable console, and then you throw it out. Rather than trying to make, you know, proper video games for that console. The Tiger Gamecom is probably the worst offender of this, because god damn, they really tried this. So let's start with this. Indy 500. This is an arcade racing game, a 3D arcade racer game. So, start your engines. So yeah, real speed, killer sound. Again, can only play one sound at a time. Realistic hazards and weather conditions. Hidden cars, other bonuses. At least with this one, they at least tried to sort of do a proper-ish port. So yeah, one thing you'll notice, it's more just one of those, like, you know, you'll see cars coming up and you'll sort of have to dodge left and right. But you'll notice how big the car is. Usually on these kind of, like, especially in portable consoles, you usually try and make the cars a lot smaller. Yeah, the worst part is like you hit a wall and you just completely spin out. It's yeah, I've heard this game is pretty rough to play. All right, now what should I go? Oh, here we go. I'm gonna go with 2 fighting games next. First one, Fighters Mega Mix. This is an interesting one. So, so this is essentially Fighters Mega Mix is actually a combination of 2 Sega games. One is Fighting Vipers and Virtual Fighter, which were both released on the Saturn. You heard that right. The Sega Saturn. They were trying to port 32-bit consoles games on an 8-bit console. So you can see why that might be a bit of an issue. So yeah, it's Virtua Fighter 2 versus Fighting Vipers. Okay, so it's Virtua Fighter 2. So, Cutting Edge Combat, favorite characters from Daytona USA and Virtual Cop. Yeah, apparently you can play as a car in a fighting game. That's actually quite impressive. So yeah, this isn't really a proper 3D fighting game. It's sort of like 2D, where you can sort of move in a 3D space. It's just a mess. And like the controls suck. Like, you know, you struggle to do a lot of the attacks. Yeah, this is not good at all. And so they also can decide to do it again with Mortal Kombat Trilogy. So I think this was released on... I mean, this sort of wasn't as bad because, like, again, this is mostly, like, you had the home ports on, like, 16-bit consoles. I can't remember if they released this on, like, you know, PlayStation, Saturn, Nintendo 64. But, yeah, at least at this one, they could sort of base it on, like, the original games. And, yeah, this is pretty much, you know, classic fighting game on portable console issues. You know, it's just a mess. Apparently, there's a number of characters missing, too. Like, so even some important ones, too, which is very strange. And, like, I mean, it has the fatalities. You'd be struggling to do the fatalities on this thing. So, yeah, that's pretty rough. All right, and the final 3 games. Here we go. Firstly, Resident Evil 2. Not some weird portable. Resident Evil 2 in its, well, they attempted fullest. Oh, yeah, it's teen. Trust me, you don't have to worry about teens. So yeah, this one is obviously not, you know, obviously you have that third-person camera view where you're sort of moving freely. Now, this one's more of a gridded one where essentially you have, like, you're in a room and essentially you go, bimp, 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 bimp. So it's sort of predetermined spots which you move to. Problem is it still has tank controls, which, yeah, makes it a mess. And, like, again, they had to cut the game down so much just to fit it on here. Like, why bother doing this? Yeah, just a mess. Speaking of messes, Duke Nukem 3D. So back before Duke went on a very long hiatus, and then they made Duke Nukem Forever. So yeah, they tried to fit this onto a full 3D game, very twitchy, very fast-paced PC game, onto the Gamecom. So yeah, this one is sort of weird because you can't actually go backwards in this. You sort of have to sort of strafe back rather than actually turning around. And like, yeah, it's sort of essentially you have 3 different ways to shoot. So essentially you got 3 different buttons. One shoots forward, one shoots left, and one shoots right. And yeah, this isn't really, yeah. Apparently it's quite short too. Okay, and finally, probably the worst offender, because it's like, why did you even think this would work in the first place? Sonic Jam. That is correct. Here's the thing. If I was to say what is the worst Sonic game, this without a question, this is the worst one. So, everyone's favorite hedgehog He's at it again, and he's jamming. Join Sonic in his action-packed adventure at high-speed, non-stop fun as the best of Sonic merges. Play classic levels of Sonic 2, 3, and Knuckles. So, firstly, Sonic Hedgehog 1 is missing. Because the idea is this is essentially a compilation game of Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Sonic and Knuckles. It was put on the Saturn. No, again, it was 16-bit. But again, like, you got the blue blur going as fast as the speed of sound on a console that really struggles. Like, I forget, like, it has such a low frame rate. Like, it's so bad, so choppy. And I'm going to talk about this a little later because I want to get into this. And I'll show you why in a sec. So those were the 20 games. 19 plus Wheel of Fortune 2, which obviously I don't have. So, I want to go into this because this is sort of a promotional pamphlet. It goes through some of the games you can play and also other things you can get. So obviously you got the main advertisement, which seems kind of pointless because, again, you've bought the damn thing, haven't you? I mean, this wouldn't be bad if it was like, a little pamphlet sitting at, like a game store desk or something like that at the counter. So yeah, it goes through all your usual stuff and bonus carts. So let's go through. Okay, so here we are, Gamecom Internet. So yeah, the most affordable way to send and receive email. It is not affordable. Trust me, like the amount of... Well, here's the thing. It might be the most affordable, but it's probably the most effort you'd have to do. So yeah, as you can see, you got setup, connect, and exit. So yeah, this connects your game to your external modem, not included, and your telephone, not included. Access text-based internet and email functions. Okay, computer or TV. Imagine someone sent an email from Gamecom to Gamecom. Man, imagine that. So yeah, receive email other people send to you. Requires subscription with internet service providers specializing in text-based services. So that's what I meant. You needed text-based services for this to work. Modem may be ordered separately from Tiger. As I said, you can get a Tiger-based modem. I think there is a game in this. So yeah, you got a lot of these. So as I said, they're doing the promotions. So Batman and Robin. Crap, I just realized Batman and Robin's missing. I have it. I have the game. Where the hell? Oh, sorry. One moment. You hiding? Okay, so I have Batman and Robin. I don't know where it's gone. I know I have a copy of that. It's not expensive. Ah, damn it. I gotta go find... Okay, so there was 18. I guess I miscounted. All right, well, yeah, Batman and Robin based... Well, might as well talk about it now. So yeah, this is based off that rather infamous Joel Schumacher movie starring George Clooney as Batman. Like, to give you an idea why the movie is so bad, that they were making the movie for toys. Wasn't actually trying to make a good movie. This is apparently just a generic, like, side-scrolling beat-em-up kind of thing. Nothing too much to worry about. Okay. Okay. So this is what I want to discuss. Sonic Jam. Okay. So everyone's favorite hedgehog is at it again, and he's jamming. Join Sonic in his action-packed adventure. It's high-speed, non-stop fun, and best of Sonic merges. Play classic levels from Sonic 1, 2, and Sonic and Knuckles. Now, I'm going to let you have a look at this for a sec. So, you'll notice two things. Firstly, as evidenced by the Sonic Jam game that I have, it's Sonic 2, 3, and Knuckles. So they straight up changed it from Sonic 1 to Sonic 3 in the last part. And the other thing you might actually notice with this too, you'll notice that, but you also notice, look at this screenshot. That is not 1, 2, 3 or Sonic and Knuckles. That is very clearly Sonic 3D Blast, originally released on the Genesis / Mega Drive. Did get a port to Saturn with some updates. But yeah, that is Sonic 3D Blast. So yeah, it's very strange. So I guess in theory, they were probably planning to also port Sonic 3D Blast on here as well. I'm not sure how that would have worked. Anyway, so yeah, you got Duke Nukem 3D. Oh, gee, a second one. How many games am I playing missing? I also forgot this one. Yeah, the Lost World Jurassic Park. Oh, I'm so sorry about this. I thought I had all 20 with me. Like, I've bought them. Like I said, Wheel of Fortune 2 is the only one I haven't bought, but I'm not... Oh. Here they are. I left them over on my chair. I completely forgot to bring them over. So there you go. So yeah, Lost World, Jurassic Park, again based on the movie. It's sort of weird with this one too because it's sort of part 2D platforming and shooting, and there's also a driving section in it as well. Apparently, considered pretty And yeah, there's Batman Room. Okay, we're all good. I'm so sorry about that. I can't believe I forgot. I was like, I'm sure I have it. So yeah, okay. So you got Arcade Classics, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune. Oh yeah, there we are. Wheel of Fortune too. So they actually have it even more spinning fun. Yeah, with more puzzles. Yeah. So they actually were advertising it at the time. So Indy 500, Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Here we are. This is what I want to look at. So you got here 2 sports games. NBA Hang Time. All the rollicking fun of the arcade hit comes home. It's NBA action at its best, and it's 2-on-2, most seriously intense competitive best. Okay, choose your player, then choose your moves. Includes real NBA players, realistic player movements, so you wouldn't be able to tell anyway. Full range actions and moves, wouldn't be able to tell. Stand like sound and music, not at the same time. Head-to-head play option, separate cable and second game com. So yeah, you could connect these up as well. I'm just checking. So yeah, COM port. Yeah, so it's probably through the COM port anyway. And yeah, then you got Madden Football 98. Yeah, there's Mr. Madden. Rest in peace. He's the man. He's got all the right moves in this football hit. Just like Supercoach Madden, choose your lineup, plays and strategies. It's all here. 29 teams, over 20 plays. And I feel like there'd be more than 20 plays in normal Madden, even back then. Funny, it was only 29 at the time. I'm trying to figure out I wonder what was the 30th team that wasn't around. Actually, it was 32, wasn't it? Yeah, it's 32 now. In playoff competition, touchdown, authentic football action, realistic play animations, true to life sound music, full season playoff games, plays designed by John himself, head-to-head play option, which, yeah, again, separate game com. So, yeah, the one thing you obviously realize when I'm reading about this is that neither of these games ever came out. So, yeah, they had these games which also could have possibly come out, but they didn't. So, yeah, then you got Fighters Megamix and Tiger Casino, Henry, Quiz Whiz, nothing weird there. Here we go. So, this is the stuff I want to talk about. So yeah, you got extra stuff. So obviously you got your Gamecom, carry case. This actually looks like a proper briefcase, actually, now I look at it. So yeah, carrying case. And a specially designed padded case. Comes organized specific Gamecom needs. Look at that, you can even hold spare bats. Really, headphones, the perfect way to enjoy this sound blasting action your favorite games without disturbing everyone else. It's just headphones. Like, you don't need to have it. There's probably just regular headphones. They're probably not even Gamecom ones. So you got AC adapter. Obviously, if you want to, connect your battery, if you don't want to use your batteries. And yeah, head-to-head cable, which goes through the COM port. So yeah, obviously, in game card to play head-to-head modes and stuff like Madden. Madden NBA, which never came out. You only need one cable anyway. And here it is, the Tiger Gamecom modem. Most affordable way to get online. Though again, most difficult. Connect your game and external. 44.4 bits per second modem to access test-based international email. Internet cartridge required. And subscription, text notes. So yeah, there it is. That is the game. What is that? WorldCom Gamecom. Intelligent fax modem. What does it say? I'll double check. Intelligent fax modem. Oh yeah, bits per second and that. Okay. And yep, find these games. Please contact Tiger directly at a number that probably doesn't work anymore. So that is the Tiger Gamecom. So yeah, if I was to say what was the biggest failure, I'd say one of the biggest problems it had was it tried to do everything, but it, it tried to do everything, but I think it tried to do too much and not enough at the same time. Like, it had to need a touchscreen, needed the chipset to make the sound, it needed internet access, but again, they wanted to also be, affordable so they could compete with the Game Boy. They'd been out for 8 years by that point and already had a chokehold on the market. So they had to cheap out on a lot of other stuff. crappy screen and bloody, really bad like contrast and volume. You only play one sound at a time. Like it's just baffling. And like that's the thing with all these games. None of them actually made by the developers or publishers. Like Sonic Jam was not made by Sega or Sonic Team. Mortal Kombat, that wasn't, or Resident Evil 2. None of that was actually made outside. I think what essentially happened was that the thing is they actually had a lot of deals in place to make those like little electronic Tiger electronic games, the little handheld LCD ones. And there was a lot of like console ones. Like there is a Sonic one that's out there too. And I think what happened was that they essentially utilized that contract to make games for this as well. They sort of were able to work for a loophole, which meant they had licensing rights to do this. So, but again, it was just one of those things where they were shooting for the moon, and they really shouldn't have been shooting for the moon. That is for bloody sure. So that was my review of the Tiger Gamecom. Would I buy one now for gaming? Obviously not. Would I have bought one back then? Probably not. I would have gotten a Game Boy. Am I okay with buying this for a collection? Honestly, I don't mind. Because again, there are some merits to it. It was the first console with touchscreen. And again, I think it is an interesting part of history. Seeing how they took on, the portable market in their own way. So yeah, I think that will do it for today. So thank you so much, and I'll be looking forward to the next game console I'll be discussing. One I did actually hint at in my shorts. All right, see you then.